Hi everyone, welcome to Luis Cisneros YouTube channel, and today's polymer clay tutorial is about how to make a pry tongue pin. Hi, I wanted to show you the piece on, but also wanted to explain why I'm making this piece. And the reason why is because the past event in Orlando, and since also it's Pride Month, I wanted to show my support to my community, and also as a gay man I wanted to show how proud I am of who I am. And the second thing it is because I have an event coming up in London, Ontario. One of my art pieces got selected to show in an art show, and I wanted to wear one of my pieces to show who I am and how proud I am. So I hope you like this tutorial. I hope you like this piece. I hope you support me, and let's get started. This is a material that we need to create our tongue, and we need the needles, and the longer the better. Also we need pliers, we need the wire, we need foil, we need clay, and we need the basic colors, and this is to create secondary colors, any brand. We need sculpting tools, and we need the proportional chart that is going to be available on my website, and this is to know the size and the proportions. We'll start by creating the armature. We use our wire to create a semicircle halfway the base, and then we go down to cover the tongue with the wire, and then we finish with another semicircle. Then we cover the base with foil, the two semicircles that we created, and put it against the proportional chart just to make sure that it is the correct size. Then we shape the wire to the mouth with the side view. We create a small filling with the foil between the tongue and the base, and then we cover the tongue. This should fit inside the mouth without touching the lips. Then, using some thread in the needle, I insert it at the back, and then with the rest of the thread I just tie it into the tongue. To create the base that is gonna be the lips and the mouth, I mix white clay with red clay to create a pink. If I want a darker pink, I can use a little bit of blue. To create the rainbow colors, I use the basic colors, so I mix red and blue to create the purple. To create the green, I use yellow with blue. And to create the orange, I use yellow and red. We create our base with the pink clay, and then we flatten a sphere into the shape mouth. Then we put it against the proportional chart so we can transfer the image and see if it is the correct shape. Then after we have the completed shape, we put our armature inside the mouth, knowing that it doesn't touch the lips. Then we press down the needle to secure it. Then I grab a piece of clay and I start measuring against our base to know that it's enough for the lower lip. After I'm sure and I measure, I create the shape and I start incorporating it down, securing also the needle. With the help of the small rounded tool, I just close the gap. With the help of the needle tool, I create the texture. There are lines that I go inside to outside, and after I finish texturizing the whole lip, I bake it. After it cools down, I use the purple clay to work on the first layer of the tongue, and this is gonna be the top of the tongue. I create a rectangle and I flatten for the next layer. Then for the next layer we use the blue clay. We create another rectangle and we cover the part of the layer. Then if you have extra clay, you can use a knife just to cut the extra piece of clay. If it doesn't enough to cover the bottom, just make sure that you use extra clay just to cover also the bottom of the tongue. I use the needle tool to help me reach those parts that I can with my fingers, and also to make sure that I'm covering the entire part. I use green clay for the next layer. Again, I do a rectangle, I measure against, and then I put it on. If I have extra clay, I also use the knife. I use extra clay just for the bottom, and I use the needle tool to again help me reach those parts that I can with my fingers. For the next layer, I use yellow clay and I do exactly the same. At this point, you can start creating also the shape of the tongue, so it goes smaller to the end and also has a dip in the middle. Don't forget to cut the extra clay just to make the layers equal. Then we add the orange, and this one is going to be a little bit different because it is actually one of the smallest parts of the tongue. As you can see, I start using my fingers just to shape the tongue and to create more movement. Then the last layer is the red, so I create the tip of the tongue with my fingers and I incorporate it into the orange layer. Just make sure that it's the correct size. Then with the rounded tools, I start creating the texture and the shape of the bottom of the tongue. I create 3 lines to define the muscles of the tongue, and I use the small rounded tool to create more texture and the big rounded tool just to help me push more the clay. Don't forget to texturize the entire bottom. After you texturize the back of the tongue, we texturize the top. Make sure that you texturize everywhere and also give it a little bit of movement and the dip and the wave that the tongue has. Finish texturizing the entire tongue, you can bake it. After you let it cool down, we're going to start working on the top lip. We use the same pink color just to create the shape that we need, and we can base it in our proportional chart. We start shaping it with our fingers and start incorporating it really careful. Make sure that you don't press down onto the tongue, and the reason why is because it's coming out of the mouth. So you don't want to also contaminate the purple color with the pink clay. And also you want to give a little bit of gap between the lip and the tongue. We use the needle tool to create the texture as we did in the lower lip. We go inside out, and then we also do it on the top. These also help us to shape even better the lip. Don't forget to also create even more dimension on the front, and also go right to the back with the lines, and that way it goes all the way. For the last step, we create a small cylinder with the leftover clay and we insert it into the needle and we can bake. After you let it cool down, and just for an extra effect, you can cover the tongue just with gloss glaze. And this is how it looks like. Thank you for watching the series accessories. I hope you like this tutorial and you have fun making this pin. If you like to support this channel, don't forget to subscribe.